Assalamu alaikum, peace. This is Brother Alim, also known as Knowledge, also known as Sabio. This is part 2 of the Black American and Latino Muslims here in Americas. And the topic around polygamy, marriage, zina. Alright, good morning, first of all. I ain't gonna say good morning. I don't like to say good morning because I found out that the word morning comes from the slave masters that was telling the slaves, oh, it was a good morning, as if there was mourning for the tragedy and the trauma that they just witnessed the night before. So that's why I don't like saying good morning. I'd rather say peace, in Spanish, buen día, saludos, saludos de paz, but good morning, not really. Now my name is Alim, Brother Alim, right? Brother Alim. And I want to talk to you about something that we all have, and that's called identity, right? But what is that really? Is it just your name? The neighborhood that you come from? Is it the box that you check on a form? For many of us, especially those of us who are Black and Latino, our identity is a deep, complex, and often hidden story. So let's start with language, right? How many of you have heard a Spanish speaker say the word ojalá? It means hopefully, God willing, I hope so. But where does it come from, really? Ojalá. It comes from the Arabic phrase inshallah. And for anyone who is Spanish-speaking Christians, like such as I recall, my aunt, make a rest in peace, and my abuela, make a rest in peace, every time they spoke, it was always, si Dios quieres, God willing. That's the way I was raised. Now, for nearly 800 years, a Muslim civilization called Al-Andalus flourished in Spain and Portugal. They gave the Spanish language thousands of words from azúcar, right, which is sugar, algodón, which is cotton, camisa, which is shirt. Now, that history is embedded in the very words Latinos speak every day. It's a direct link to a Muslim and African past that is often forgotten, right? Or should I say, for example, you'll see plenty of Black Americans and Latinos, like they love to make fun of Africans, they love to make fun of Muslims, and they're actually making fun of themselves of their own history. You know what I mean? For example, you ever remember that movie from Boys in the Hood? And the guy was saying, oh, I'm from Africa, and the other kid was making fun, oh, you ain't from Africa, you African booty snatcher. That's the type of ignorance that they feed us, unfortunately, you know? They teach us, the colonizers gave us a twisted version, the worst version, and most often lies of our fellow Muslim brothers and our fellow African brothers. Feel me? Like, oh, it was all in the jungle, like some Tarzan stuff, and they never told us about Mansa Musa, they never told us about Timbuktu, they never told us about Abu Bakr, Bilal, they never told us about none of these things. They only gave us a stupid-ass Zulu Nation movie, right? Okuta Kente, slavery, like that is our history. They never told you about all the empires, know what I mean? The golden era, they didn't tell you about none of that. They didn't even tell us about the black popes that they have. They had so many black popes. You know what I mean? They had so many black saints, but the thing is, unfortunately, a lot of our fellow Black brothers and sisters and Latina brothers and sisters who are not under the Nation of Islam, who are not under the world community of Islam, unfortunately are dumb, deaf, and blind. Straight facts. They always like to make fun of knowledge, and they don't want to learn, they don't want to study. These are clowns. You know what I mean? They, like Malcolm X words, unfortunately, these are people that have been bamboozled. They've been hoodwinked. You know? I feel for them and I pray for them. You know, that's why in the Bible it says, Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. All right. So, now let's talk about the Americas, right? When we think of the history of black people in this hemisphere, we often start with the slavery, you know, but we need to start with who they were before they were enslaved, right? Millions of the Africans brought to these shores were Muslims. They were scholars, they was leaders, they were warriors. Now, they didn't just accept their fate. They fought back. And the Muslim slaves that fought back, these are the Cimarrones. You know what I mean? Cimarrones, the Maroons, who escaped slavery and built their own free community in the mountains of Puerto Rico, right? Also Loíza, right? Which what the whole Puerto Rico known as Baby Africa in Puerto Rico. Loíza was made by Cimarrones. That's where my family's from. Also in Jamaica, also in Brazil, right? They fought to preserve their faith, their families, and their dignity. That's our bloodline. So, now the systems of colonization and slavery were brutal, right? Whether it was North America, South America, Central America, it was still brutal. They left deep scars that we still see today, you know? The most devastating weapon was the destruction of the family. You know, enslaved people were not allowed to legally marry. Families were torn apart at any moment. This created generations of trauma. So when we see issues like broken homes in our communities, we have to understand that it is not a cultural flaw. It is the echo of a historical crime on humanity. So even some of the slang that we use has dark origins. The word stud, right, used to describe a man who is good with women, comes from the language of enslavers who used it for black men that they forced into breeding like animals. It was a word designed to strip a man of his humanity and reduce him to a tool for profit. Yeah. So why does any of this matter today in 2025? It matters because you can't know where you're going until you know where you've been. Understanding this history is how we heal. It is how we reclaim our narrative. My identity as an Afro-Indio Boricua Muslim isn't a contradiction. It's a testament to this incredible history of survival, faith, and resilience. It's a history that lives in all of us. So I encourage you, brothers and sisters, to look deeper into your own story, ask questions, learn the origins of your family's names, the traditions, the words, because your identity is not just a box to check. It's a library of stories waiting to be read. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.